Well, old enclosures like we use for generators and things, you limit the amount of airflow through them, through different covers, whatever, to cardboard, as you see a lot of cars going out. Well, the problem with that is you limit the airflow, regen happens, you've got this tremendous amount of heat inside this enclosure. It's going to be a problem. It is a problem. Well, this system, it's really kind of simple. The radiator comes out and the radiator would be facing here. The hot air comes around and exhausts out the top. Inside this enclosure, if it is below 75 degrees, right here there's an air dam that blocks that off. So the air just goes around and around in a circle. So no matter what's going on, the airflow is tremendous, the turbulence. So you're moving it around, you're not building up air or heat at any point. And yet, once it's over 75 degrees in there, that air dam drops 2 inches. Makeup air goes in the side a little bit. Most of the air is still going around, but you find your balance. 2 minutes later, drops 2 more inches. 2 minutes later, drops 2 more. And so you maintain 75 degrees inside, which is perfect for an engine. You have the airflow and turbulence you need for the emission system in the warm environment. And so far, BP has 20 of them now that they ran all winter, and absolutely flawless. And where so many other machines, if you have your weather fronts all on them, and I'm probably going to get in trouble here talking about this, but there are issues in that, say it's 40 below this morning and it's 0 this afternoon, and you have it all buttoned up, you're going to overheat it. Well, it doesn't matter. It can be 90 degrees today, 40 below tomorrow, no adjustments, you don't touch a thing. You have the perfect environment inside that compartment for the engine to run 24 hours a day unattended. And we filed for patents on it, and it looks like we're going to get them. I'm pretty excited. This is one of the oil pans that we put on a lot of the equipment we build here, and our goal is to try and have annual services on most of the equipment we build, and instead of every 10 days.
Terry's interested in
Oh, this particular, we have 3 different sizes. One's 12 gallons, one's 19 gallons, and one's 29 gallons. And so the bigger the engine, the bigger the oil pan and capacity. It doesn't show it, but we add remote filters that are oversized to compensate and calculate out so that you have the same amount of filter capability and things like that. And we have some examples around here you can see. But this gets more into some of the custom things that we do for customers. This is a big steam trailer for Alyeska. It's got a boiler in it for thawing, doing cleaning pipe work, whatever they're doing. This is a fuel trailer, and here again, all insulated, all designed for the cold weather. We use mostly the sandwich foam in a lot of ours, which is pretty unique for equipment. And that's the end of it. Okay, well, I guess, questions, anything? Yes?
Have you had to defend any of your patents or your intellectual property in a civil court?
No. We have had an issue on my original heater design. I had a licensing agreement with a company called Ground Heaters, who then sold to a company called Wacker, and Wacker is a big multinational. Oh, that's right, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
They're not nice guys.
No, they're German.
They're a great company. But, and I'll qualify, I'm almost pure German, but I could become prejudiced. We will dominate you. And, but anyhow, we went through the thing and did what do you call it, the court,
Arbitration.
Arbitration. And got it all resolved. And the great part is, they don't know anything about heaters. We know a lot about heaters, so we're just filling in the market. So so that's fun. Yeah.
So just technically, so a lot of these look like they're designed for cold weather.
Right.
How about, what's like your upper operating temperature, your ambient operating temperature?
Most of this stuff will operate almost anywhere. You know, as long as you have the airflows, the hot air is not a big problem. Whereas, I mean, I don't know how you explain it properly, but the open things that they designed for Arizona don't work at all when you get in North Dakota, places like that a lot of the time. But stuff like our heater out here that you'll see with the re-air, you do have full airflow and the ability to exhaust all of it, so it'll work in hot air just as good as cold.
They're not so buttoned up that they're overheating.
No. Not at all. Yeah.
So it sounds like, some of the developments that you're manufacturing and selling here, and others you're licensing to other people. What percentage, I guess, of?
I did one licensing agreement and it is done.
So it's all developed here, yeah.
It wasn't a positive.
And it was.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Did you have I guess this is a really narrow question. Did you have a clause in your agreement that talked about if the company's bought out, that they need to get a written license from you, or that has to be approved beforehand prior to the license?
Well, we did, and I can't remember exactly what the little pace and, but they did it so that they didn't have to do that. In fact, I didn't even know it was sold until after it was done. It was, I read about it in trade publication is how I learned that this whole thing had happened. But yeah, it was a big mistake. And I'll say I hired a great big law firm that specializes in intellectual property. We spent a lot of money on that agreement and a lot of time. And there's one little loophole in there that we didn't work out quite right.
How'd you guys come together?
Just known each other for a long time, and I would say I was just timing. I guess I was at a point where things were growing like crazy. Demand was exceeding anything I could do. I was tired, not so much of building heaters, but of dealing with bankers and that part of it. And there are very, very limited options for most people starting out in this area.
Did you go to Tim, or Tim go to you because he knew you and say, hey?
I don't know if it even happened that way. I think it was more of a discussion of what's going on and a light going off that, hey, maybe there's something we could do together. To be honest, I don't remember that exact conversation.
I remember it started over at Debbie's, the diner across the way.
A lot of things said.
And I think you said something about, well, we should get together and talk about this company. That sort of set it off. This is a capital intensive business, huge inventories, engine, equipment, all of which is high dollar. It's a real challenge to kind of keep the cash, the flows, or cash required, capital required, balanced with the business, especially as the business expands. So it's a natural for partnership, like very complementary skills. It's been a lot of fun. We've grown a lot. I mean, it's gotten quite large just in the space of a few years.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of the developments were specifically for the oil field. Has the defense, military bases or mining operations been?
We do some with mining.
Good market.
We have products that fit in with them more. We're targeting some of these things to do with the pumps and that where we will have more exposure to it. Right now, it is still primarily oil fields, but we've done a little bit with the fence. It's an extremely difficult thing to get into, and the cost of entry to meet their specifications and everything is pretty staggering. Unless you're looking at something huge, I just don't see the opportunity in it. But my thought.
Are you looking at raising more equity and bringing this capital intensive as it is?
Not at this time, though. Ready for a tour?
Sure. Here, I can go out to 7, 8, 10 people, email them the specs, have quotes back the next day. Very competitive for all the pieces. In the last bit, if I want laser cutting, I need to bring up laser cutting. There's no way near this. If I want powder coating, I need to set up to do metal powder coating. And in the past, so many of those people who have those individual pieces have priced it not on trying to develop manufacturing, but what the market will bear. We've all heard that mantra over and over again. And there's so little competition in that concept. Could a laser cutter run the Fairbanks and absolutely fill it up? And absolutely. There is a product, if the equipment was here. If there's only one here, would they price it to where it would work at? I don't know. We'd have to This is one of the re-air enclosures that we'll show you inside. If you look, the airflow goes right through the front, over the top. On the production models we're doing now, we've extended that so that we don't get rain and snow and things, so it goes clear to the end. But right up in here is the air dam that will come up, and the path of least resistance is just to go around and make up air. Whatever the engine consumes or is let out comes in through both sides. And,
So if you were in a Texas oil patch, you could still use this
oh,
at 100
absolutely,
degrees outside?
absolutely.
So what's the control system on that damper?
It's just a Bolino, which is a real industrial controller, and it's done just off of Johnson controls inside of the snap disc.
And is this completed? There'll be no insulation or anything?
For this particular one, no, this will get an insulation package. And that does two things. It sound dead.
How long is the daytime?
This one will run on this particular about 80 hours. Here again, it's all in containment. If anything spills, it's a tank inside a tank.
How many employees do you have on an average?
On an average in Fairbanks, probably around 30. It's gotten as high as 38.
Is there a, just you commented on that, the rain shield there, and just thinking about most of the snow I've seen. So snow's blowing in there, maybe before the damper opens. And is there where does it melts, and is there a way to exclude that water then at some point in here?
For the most part, it'll evaporate while they're
Blow out.
running, but there are drains on the bottom that has a service function every now and then. You can pull the drains and check for leaks. One thing we're working on for the heaters that we can incorporate here is an alarm system that when the containment gets to a third full, there'll be a light that goes off on the top to warn people. And the reason we're not doing a shutdown is because of water. They just want a warning if there's a little in it, and then they don't want it to shut down just because it's got some rain.